like in now, like we are live now. I hope we
now I am become Geeks, the reviewer of movies.
Yeah, I thought it would be somewhat.
That was a weird moment in the movie, right?
The first time he did that. Yeah.
Well, because the second time calls back to the first time.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe he just wanted it to be super memorable.
I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about Oppenheimer, the movie, the Christopher Nolan movie that just came out, like last week, right? It's been
2 weeks now.
I don't
almost 2 weeks.
Same day
almost
as Barbie.
2 weeks.
Whenever Barbie came out, that's when this movie came out. That's all I know.
July 23rd. It's been almost 2 weeks.
Good Lord. Anyway, so yeah, we're here. We're gonna review Oppenheimer.
Time flies when you're watching a 7-hour movie.
Good Lord.
Yo,
it did not feel that long.
That movie flew by for me.
It did. We'll talk about that when we talk about the review. But joining me is Brent and David. How's it going, guys? It's been a while since we did I think it's been like 3 weeks since we did our last episode.
I don't know. Am I on the show anymore?
What did we do last time?
You're not Steve.
It was 2 weeks.
Or
maybe it was 3.
What did we do 3 weeks ago because we didn't do one. But you guys.
Oh, Final Fantasy, didn't we?
Final Fantasy.
We did Final Fantasy, and we did one before Final Fantasy that wasn't on because I hadn't.
And Lasso, we did before that.
Yeah.
No, what was the movie?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse. Yeah. I wasn't on.
Oh, yeah. But I wasn't on that one.
You know what? It's going to be on digital on the 8th of August. So
perfect. I'll watch it in 7 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably won't because I'll be super busy next week.
Taffy.
But it's more.
Next week is the last week of class.
Ooh.
Before exams. I don't have exams, right? So
you're a TA.
I'm prepping students, right?
Yeah.
So
TA, like,
hey, I'm done painting the thing. Great.
You're a TA. Yay. Like that guy Oppenheimer tried to kill. Anyway, we'll talk about that movie in a sec, but like we do most times, not most times, sometimes we do. Let's do what's good because I don't want this episode to be super long, but you know, I do want to know what you guys are liking right now. Brent, what's new? What are you liking? Also, you had your birthday stream. I don't know if we talked about that. Was that?
Oh yeah, we did that a while ago.
Yeah, I don't remember if we talked about on the.
I think I talked about it before, like on the stream beforehand, that it was coming up.
Okay.
It went well. It went well.
Yeah.
I had a good time. I got pretty drunk. 13-hour stream, my longest one yet.
Yeah.
Gave away some goodies and that, so good time. I don't know if I have any because I've got one, but I feel like we talked about it last time. Didn't Shouse talk about Pikmin last time?
Yeah, that was coming out, but it hadn't come out at that point.
I'm gonna just say that then. I would love to talk about Remnant 2, but I haven't really had a chance to dig into it yet. I'm only on the first level still.
Was a fan of the franchise. I don't know if he's played the second one.
I'm only on the first level, so I haven't really had a chance to truly dig into it yet. But I've played enough of Pikmin 4 to say that I think Pikmin 4 might have surpassed Pikmin 3 for me, which was a high bar to clear. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Have you played? Has anybody played it yet?
The last one I played was 2, and it was not for a long time.
I've never played a Pikmin game.
So 4 starts out really, really weak. I was not thrilled with it. They I guess they borrowed a lot of things from 2. I didn't like the cave system in 2, and that's a big part of this game. So I was really walking into it kind of going like, I don't know how I feel about this. The inclusion of the dog seemed really silly because the dog just does what the Pikmin do. So I was like,
it's like
really
a big
not.
Pikmin?
Essentially, yeah. You command it to do things. You command it to go attack. You command it to go and collect things. And so I wasn't really big on it. And I thought, I was like, this is really kind of a clunker. I'm really disappointed. But then as you keep playing, every day cycle that goes by, the game reveals a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And like those cave systems that were like in 2 are now like a series of basically like mini games, including my favorite aspect from Pikmin 3, which was the extra footage or the extra bonus stuff at the end where you go and you do the what's called the Dandura challenges, which is collect every item within a certain time limit. Those are now a regular portion of the game where you're actually competing against either AI or other players. And I was like, this is a great element. And then the dog, which I thought was a waste, all of a sudden you learn, the dog is the RPG portion of the game where you can start unlocking new abilities and new skills and upgrades for it. And I was like, oh shit, this just got a whole hell of a lot better.
Interesting.
So it's a game that like is a bit of a slow burn at first, but like, damn, it just keeps getting better and better and better. Like,
I didn't know Pikmin had a dog in it.
This is the first one to have a dog in it.
Okay. I was like, isn't it like little dudes?
Every game they've added additions. Like in the first game, it's your one character with the Pikmin. And the second game, they add a second character that you can toggle between. In the third game, they add a third character you can toggle between. And then the fourth game now, they've added your one character, but you have a dog that you can play with. And then they have NPC characters that you find along the way who open like little shops for you and upgrade abilities for you and stuff. So they've really added like a really cool RPG element to it, and I'm been very, very impressed.
Cool. I think there's a demo for it, right?
Yeah, you can play the demo, and then if you get the game after, it saves your progress over. I waited until the full game release to play it, so
I
didn't
appreciate
want to get teased.
any game that has a demo that lets you progress.
Final Fantasy.
Like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I'll try out the demo. I know you've been talking about it with shows, so
I don't know how long the only problem is I don't know how long the demo is, so I don't know whether or not you'll get the aspects of the game that I'm talking about, because it is the first hour or two is a little slow. It's a lot of story. It's a lot of slow progression. But then once you hit like the second area that you can unlock and go to, it really just starts opening up big time.
I still have to finish the Mario versus Rabbids game, the second one that I can't remember what it's called, but it was really good.
Mario versus Rabbids 2.
Something like that. Oh, something of Stars of Hope. I don't remember.
Oh,
Cool.
Oh, Sparks of Hope.
Sparks of Hope. There it is.
Yeah.
We got there in the end.
Does Taffy's wondering if Lies of P carries over progress?
I believe it does, but I don't really care because I'm going to start from the beginning anyway.
That comes out in September or August.
September 19th.
Nice. Looking forward to
Blasphemous 2 comes out. I've already pre-ordered Armored Core 6 in a couple weeks, which I think I'm going to wait.
Isn't that Armored Core 7?
No, 6. Fires Rubicon.
Yep.
Yeah. That looks good.
As much as I'm a FromSoft stan and I'll buy anything they put out, I think I'm going to wait on this one.
That's fair.
Did you play any of the other Armored Cores before?
No, and that's why I'm not super excited. I have seen a lot of footage of this. There's a lot of gameplay out. A lot of people got advanced copies. Like I know Fighting Cowboy got an advanced copy, and he's been doing a Let's Play of it for the past week now. And it looks fantastic. And I've heard it plays amazing as well. So
cool. Things we'll have to check out. I don't even know what the next game
games.
I know what the next game I'm playing is.
Too many fucking games. Too many fucking games this year.
Dave, what's good?
Man, I got so many what's goods right now.
Do it, all of them.
Obviously, I'm painting at the moment because I'm going to play some BattleTech tomorrow night.
Yeah. What kind of paints do you use?
I am currently using some Green Stuff World. This is Hunter Green because I play. Oh, sorry, that's my Black Stallion. Hunter Green because the faction I chose are Escorpione Imperio, which is very complicated. It's a whole thing. They're like some of the most reasonable people in the BattleTech universe in a very feudal society set in the 32nd century or whatever it is. Because they're just like, we want the old technology. Anyway, I got a new headset. I don't know if you noticed. It's a Razer Black Shark V2 Pro, not the 2023 edition, because it was on sale on Prime Day or whatever it was.
Oh, dang.
I like how it's invisible.
Big feature, big fan of it, right? It's the white black edition, which is great because it matches my PlayStation 5, which is what I use it on mostly.
Oh,
it's currently wired, but I normally don't. It's my first wireless headset, basically. It sounds great. The mic is actually decent. You're not hearing that mic, obviously. Right now, you're hearing my normal computer mic, but on my PlayStation, my streams sound slightly better.
Does it have the surround sound?
I have no idea.
Which
doesn't have
one?
The Razer Black Shark V2 Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, not the 2023 Pro. It's probably 5.1, right?
It's
not. It was not cheap. Let me put it that way.
No, I've been starting to look into the Arctic Steel headsets, but god, the price on some of those.
Yeah.
This is like just right for me. It's not like, it's not an amazing headset, but it's like, like a high-end gaming headset, basically.
I'm perfectly content so far with the Pulse 3Ds. Like, I still have not had any issues with them. The sound quality is incredible.
I love this 3D sound in it. It's amazing.
3D.
I've been looking at studio monitoring earphones, so that's a little bit expensive, but I want them. I want them so bad.
I'm
something
done
that you
spending
need
money on computer shit for a while. So
something you need an amp to drive, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, you don't. Yeah, you should. It's gonna go through a board either way. So yeah,
Okay.
it will be driving.
Yeah.
Bad.
There's another thing. I'm like so close to finishing Final Fantasy 16.
You're on like part 20 of your stream, and you stream for a long
uh,
time. So
Part
I have
20.
not. I fucking haven't played it since we did the review.
Same.
It's phenomenal. It only gets better and better and better. I'm amazed. I'm still like amazed by things. I think I probably have, if I get like a full like couple hours, because I was doing the hunts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to finish it tonight before we started, but I got sidetracked with doing other things.
Before Thursday,
yeah.
man. Before Thursday.
But I think I have basically 2 chapters left, which is probably 2-3 hours. Because I just finished all of the hunts I have to do. Not all the hunts in the game, and I haven't started New Game Plus, but I am at the last thing, basically.
I was watching your stream before, like the one tonight, and you were saying that there are like combos and stuff that you're learning now that they're just getting.
So
Like,
it's not until you get your second or last icon moveset that you know those stones that I thought were a thing. Like there's just like big, they look like the Already stone, which is in your base, so you can do like replay missions and stuff. They're scattered around the game.
Yeah, I've seen.
And I was like, these are gonna be a thing later. Why don't they just do it now? And so the first one I found was for Shiva, and it's like it's like a challenge. It's sort of like in God of War when you go to like Muspelheim and you just like go through levels. And there's like 4 levels. They're not hard, and they basically force you to use that moveset because you only get the one icon. So it like forces you to learn how to use that moveset, and you learn the advantages of it. And it's like I've been playing the game going like I don't like this, I don't like that, but like when you can only use them, they feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so over leveled. I'm level 47 now out of 50. You can go to 100 in New Game Plus. I just like I have 5 alts. Like I just use like Flames of Rebirth, and then like the Thunder one, and then like the whatever one, and then I just kill things. And I'm using a thing that gives me 10% more magic damage. So I'm basically a wizard. And then I use my sword a little bit. So the problem is I kill things so fast when I gain the new abilities. I go, these are terrible because I'm just built to just murder, waves upon waves of enemies because I'm over leveled and other things. So
that's fair. That's fair.
That's also maybe now that Only Up is done, I can get back into that.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting
that monkey's off my back? So
are you going to be getting Baldur's Gate 3?
Are you asking me? Or
no, Brent. I know you have it already.
Yeah.
Am I going to be? No.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if you're going to be.
It's something I'm interested in, but there's just I know it'll come out, I'll buy it, and I won't play it because there's just too much shit out right now.
I would highly recommend.
There's too many good games out right now that I'm already not playing.
If you were going to play a game like that, you probably already own Divinity Original Sin 2.
I don't.
And you might as well play that. Because that's 4 players as well. If you want to play co-op, there's, it's not the same story, obviously. Mm-hmm. But you're also not like a huge Forgotten Realms nerd, Like I've played every Forgotten Realms video game except for like 2, I think.
Which 2?
So
out of curiosity.
The older like Stone Keep or whatever it is, like the ones for like Atari and stuff like that.
Fair.
I would just jump into Baldur's Gate 3. Honestly, like I think in my chat knows on my streams, like I don't pay attention to story in games half the time.
Well, that takes place a lot later.
I just want to play. I want a game that's fun to play. I don't give a shit if the story is super involved or crazy or anything. Like I think that's why I'm not the big Last of Us stan like everybody else on the fucking planet is. Like, it's like, yeah, there were good stories, but, the gameplay itself is not something that makes me ever want to go back and, like, buy the new remaster that comes out every 8 weeks.
Oh, but I love the multiplayer. Like, that's why I like the gameplay for it, because the multiplayer was fun.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate and Divinity Original Sin are more like the closest thing you can get to, like, XCOM multiplayer.
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate is kind of better in the new one, I should say, because it actually is turn-based. Mm-hmm. Whereas the old ones kind of weren't. They were designed to be. What's up?
I would probably be more because I crave a good turn-based strategy game.
Like, really so the combat is loose. I would say loosely 5th edition. It's based on 5th edition. There's a lot of improvements to 5th edition in it. And obviously you've got a ton of classes, ton of choices. You can only have 4 party members, which is kind of a letdown for me because you used to be able to have 6 in the old games. But it's got the same structure of Divinity. That's why I say like Divinity is a game where you can have up to 4 characters, and you can play 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, right? Humans. They don't have to. You can have humans, or you can just control it all yourself. Like when you play Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, most people don't play those games multiplayer because there's a main character. But in this game, it's kind of designed where it's not a main character. You're all main characters. You can all have dialogues and blah, 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 blah. But when the combat starts, it's turn-based. It's not grid-based like XCOM. Actually, XCOM's like
XCOM
hexes, isn't it?
Is hex.
But this game is more freeform, which is how I would actually prefer to play D&D anyway, is instead of using grids, just measure things like you would in like BattleTech or Warhammer, although
Doesn't Star Wars do that?
Which game?
Doesn't Star Wars do that? Where you measure?
There's many Star Wars
No, the
games.
one that we were playing. The
that one's a grid game. That one's that's with squares, 5-foot squares, based like the 3.5 style.
So is it the main game releases on Thursday?
It's in early access, and on the 3rd,
which is Thursday.
Okay, at 10 a.m. Eastern time, the full game will come out.
Okay.
If you buy, I'm going to sound like an ad now. We're not sponsored. I wish we were sponsored by Larian Games. Fuck.
I just saw the if you want a key thing, and I was like, oh, it's too late.
We already bought the game. Well, I'm sure. Yeah, tell them yes. If you buy the game before it releases, you automatically get upgraded to the digital deluxe version. The problem is all those things are things for people who would probably have already pre-ordered the game. Like for fans of Larian, you get like an item pack from their previous games. There's like, all these like a digital map and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like,
upgraded dice.
I don't care. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something I'm spending $80 on right now.
Yeah.
It's just
I would buy it on sale, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was cheaper when it first came out in early access. It was like $40 or $50.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
Like as of right now, like my gaming schedule is booked solid until like December, which I know then that's when they're going to announce Silk Song coming out, and I'm like, fuck, I get no break.
It comes out next week.
When you started saying Silk Song, my brain went, he's mispronouncing SOCOM.
Oh, I miss SOCOM. I have a play date on
do.
Thursday to play Baldur's Gate with my buddy Stu. So, yeah, that's going to be fun.
I will be playing I might even stream, we'll see, but it'll be myself, Joe Smodley.
Mm-hmm.
My friend changes his names all the time. He's currently in the Discord. It's Glizzy Iron Calves.
Yes.
And Rack Eyes, and we'll be playing all dwarves, the Dwarfist timeline. We're all going to be different class. We're going to have a wizard, a cleric. I think I'm probably going to go ranger, which is not terrible in this version.
If you ever need a 4th, I can always jump in.
I don't think I'm going to be hurting for people. Like I think I'm going to have to play this game with 17 different groups because I'm the DM for many different games, but like I'm a Nexus character for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, it's true.
And Divinity. So
don't worry, we'll talk about Baldur's Gate. Probably not this month. We're gonna wait till the PS5 releases because Brittany's not gonna play it until PS5.
It's also like, what are you gonna say? Because people have already beat the first act because that's been out in early access. Nothing else has been out though. So what are you supposed to talk about? Stuff that's already been in early access, or
no? It would be the full game.
Like the only thing we don't have yet are Dragonborns, I think, and Monks. Those are both coming out with the full release that we don't already have, and obviously like improvements and stuff like that. But I played a little bit just recently to try and get a feel for it, and it looks incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like the graphics are fantastic, especially from where it was 3 years ago.
I played it a long time ago.
It's 3 years in early access. And 3 years before that, apparently. It's been 6 years of development.
Dang.
That's a long time.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we do.
Be a big game.
There's a lot of stuff coming out this fall, so who knows what we're going to review other than Spider-Man 2, which we're definitely going to review.
I won't be here for that.
No?
I haven't even played Spider-Man 1.
Oh, man, you should.
I didn't care for it. I started it, and I'm like, Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 was better, and I put it down and I walked away.
Oh, that hurts. It's so good. It's so good. I also love Insomniac. So
see what's happening on the screen right there? That's going off in my head right now.
Speaking of, we should talk about this Oppenheimer little art film that just came out.
This fella.
This little guy that came out on July 21st in the U.S. and
23rd.
Oh, 23rd. Okay. It says 21 on their Wikipedia for some reason. Anyway, this is a biographical film written and directed by Christopher Nolan of Batman fame. Yeah, only Batman, not anything else. It's based on a 2005 biography called American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin. And the film chronicles the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who is most, famously,
The
known
father
for
of the atom bomb.
the father of the atom bomb. And it's not just about the development of the Manhattan Project, but it's also
Yeah,
his-
I learned that one.
his early life and then his life afterwards, which is, awesome. I only saw the first trailer, which didn't really say anything. And then at that point, I was just like, I have to see this movie. What did you guys think of when you saw the first trailer? Were you just like, I have to see this movie?
You had me at Christopher Nolan starring Cillian Murphy.
You know what? I've not seen Tenet yet.
No, same. I have not either.
Isn't that the only one Cillian Murphy's not in?
Pretty much, and that's the only one I haven't seen.
Fair.
Yeah.
No, I've been a big fan of Cillian Murphy for years, and I think this is finally the movie that's going to launch him where he deserves to be.
Isn't Peaky Blinders one of the most popular shows in the world, though?
Yeah, but is he?
Yeah. I
don't think
He's
he
one of those
wants
guys
to
that
be.
he's always been associated with large projects, with big scale things. He's always been in the mix of them, but he's never been the standout person. He's always been the guy that we know of, like indie fans know of.
Yeah.
He's never launched into mainstream. I don't think that he necessarily wants to, but I'd like to see him at least get the mainstream recognition he deserves, because he is one of the most talented motherfuckers on the planet.
I think he'll get an Oscar for this movie.
I think he'll get a nod too.
Absolutely. I'd be shocked if him and Robert Downey don't get it.
We will talk about each of the main players in this.
But yeah, as far as honestly, it's just like I said. As soon as I saw Christopher Nolan, Cillian Murphy about the birth of the atomic bomb, like, I was sold. Like, I didn't have to see anything. I did not see anything else. I didn't even know who half the fucking cast in the movie were. I kept sitting here going like, "Oh shit, here he's in it!" Like,
it was a big cast.
That was
a
crazy
big
cast.
how many fucking Academy Award winners for Best Actor are in the movie? Like, and half of them don't even get lines until like the last 10 minutes.
Everybody wants to work with Chris Nolan.
When Rami Malek showed up, and I was like, he's just a side kid. Like, he's just a little background guy.
Yeah.
And
Dude
then,
just won the fucking Oscar
Oh my
like
God.
2 years ago, and here he doesn't say anything until the last 10 minutes of the movie. And I'm
Yo,
like,
that
"That's
scene,
great."
honestly, that scene was so good.
it was so good.
When the
We're not gonna.
Sorry, I don't want to go too into the movie. We'll get through the preconceived idea or notions of it. So
Dave, were you pretty much? Yeah, I got to go see this as soon as he announced it.
Yeah, the
or
only
trailer?
the only movie that Nolan's made that I haven't seen actually is Dunkirk, and that's because I wanted to see it in 70mm, and I haven't been able to. So I was basically like,
now you can't.
do I just never watch it?
No,
I
go
don't
see
know.
it.
Like, I'll watch it eventually, but
I saw.
I don't know.
I saw it in Dunkirk in Mississauga. I saw Dunkirk in 70mm in Mississauga,
Yeah.
and it was the most intense movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and
like,
I thought
yeah,
I was gonna
I
pee
wish I
myself.
watched it. I wish I had gone to see it in IMAX or 70mm. Like I
There were
was
moments where it was so
I just
loud.
kind of thought I was like, whatever. I'll wait till it comes out and watch it. And then I watched it and I was like, God damn it.
It was so loud and so intense that there were times where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a fucking heart attack right now. And I don't think, like, even when I went to Oppenheimer, I saw it at 10 a.m. this morning. It was fucking packed. Like, it was sold out.
Yeah.
And people were in the
It was
first
basically
row.
sold when I went too. It
was
was
a-
all like 60-year-olds who wouldn't shut the fuck up through half the movie.
Oh, I had a younger crowd. A lot of them dressed up as Oppenheimer, which I thought was hilarious. So, there was that.
Amazing.
Yeah, actually, what format did you see it in IMAX, Brent?
I saw it in IMAX, the Ancaster Silver City IMAX.
So like digital IMAX.
yeah.
Dave,
I saw it in the second smallest theater at the Hamilton Mountain Cineplex.
that's fair. That's all right. It's all good.
No, honestly, it was fine. I actually don't. I was like, I got to see this movie in 70mm, and then when I watched it, I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary.
I agree. I did not find that IMAX brought anything to the movie visually that watching it in a regular theater didn't.
I
wouldn't
think
have.
I think what the choices of what was shown in IMAX versus the regular 16:9 format was very deliberate and at times very jarring in a good way. Like there were times when I was just taken aback by how much everything was.
I never. Well, maybe it's because I didn't have it. Maybe it never changed aspect ratio for me.
Mhm.
But like when you watch The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, like you notice
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
aspect ratio change. But I did not notice that, and I don't know if it did, to be honest. But I just felt like there were no scenes in this movie that were certainly not bright enough.
Was it dark for you
IMAX
guys?
Well, I'm blind. But I never felt like I imagine Dunkirk really takes advantage of IMAX because it's very bright. It's mostly shot during the day,
Yeah.
huge vistas. And this was like, well, there's like some New Mexico, and I'm like, I know what New Mexico looks like. It's just it's just a little green with some brown. It's not that, you know. So I didn't think this movie took advantage in the same way. Maybe I'm shitting on a world famous cinematographer, but I don't know. It just didn't matter as much to me.
I wonder how it'll change, like my viewing, how it'll change once I see it on my TV at home, like because
I think you can just not even look at it, just listen to the movie.
the screen was bigger than my house. Like it's just like seeing it in that format, and there's not that many 70 mil IMAX theaters in Canada. I think
there's one in Ontario.
I thought there were two in Ontario.
No,
I know there's.
Oh, the Science. I don't think the Science Center counts.
No, there's one in Vaughan and Mississauga.
So there's actually like the IMAX website says which ones are actually 70 millimeter, and there's only 3 in Canada and like 17 in the United States, or maybe 23.
I thought it was 7,
it's actually way less than people realize.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, but it was, for me it was astounding. But yeah, man. Yeah. So we might as well do like a small
spoilers.
No.
Spoilers for a real story.
No, I know, but like if we're gonna go into it more depth, but just like your 2 seconds like non super spoiler review, Brent.
I don't have it. Like, this movie's 3 hours, man. I don't have a 2-second non-spoiler.
How about this?
No,
do you recommend seeing it?
What's that?
You can even do recommend seeing it or no?
Recommend seeing it, yes.
And what format?
And I will recommend see it in a theater that has incredible sound.
Yeah.
That to me is that was what Christopher Nolan did with the music in this movie. It changed me. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think this is Nolan's best sound, like scored or edited, sound edited film.
Oh, that's
like we'll go into more detail later with some of the choices he makes and some of the scenes, but like, yeah,
that's a big statement.
It is the biggest auditory experience I've ever had in a movie.
Well, you can actually understand what people are saying in this movie.
That's fair, but I also think you can understand what people are saying in Interstellar and the soundtrack and
really,
you understood Interstellar? Rises, though.
Not the Dark Rises,
and not Dunkirk, as I understand either.
I didn't have an issue in Dunkirk.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, so.
Did you have an issue with Dunkirk, Brent?
No.
I didn't think anything was muffled.
A lot of
even Tom Hardy
could have done without that.
A movie about the Brits.
Yeah.
The
fuck, film that shit in Vancouver.
No, he likes the whole
on location.
Oh yeah, he likes the realism.
So this movie, we're gonna spoil a story that most people know anyway. So this is the warning. If you
don't, just go on YouTube and spend 10 minutes watching a video about it.
There are so many.
Actually, here's the TLDR for people that really quickly, like the semi-spoilery. This movie is not about the atomic bomb. This movie is about Oppenheimer. Know that going in, because I didn't.
This is true.
It makes the first hour of the movie very long if you think that it's about the bomb.
Yeah.
When are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
So this movie is an amazing, it is an amazing biopic on the life and times of Oppenheimer. What do you think of the framing device where they had the Strauss trial and the the Security Council trial for Oppenheimer being the book, sort of the framing device for his life story.
It honestly was one of the most genius things I've seen in a while, because it took me a while to realize exactly what was going on. Like, I understand that every time you see the movie in black and white, it's the Strauss's perspective of the movie, and every time it's in color, it's Oppenheimer's perspective of the movie. And I didn't get that until you started later in the movie seeing the scene of them around the dinner table discussing the hydrogen bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And you see everything in black and white first. And you see that, and you're realizing this is Strauss's perception of how that dinner went.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we see the movie in color, and you realize, oh, it's the same scene, but everyone's acting very differently. And you realize, oh shit, that's Oppenheimer's version of events. And
I don't remember that scene being in color. Weirdly enough, I never noticed
towards the
difference.
end. It was towards the end.
Yeah, when they start unraveling all the Strauss.
Yeah.
Stuff.
There's a few different scenes that kind of tell like the same perspective from both of them, and I thought that was such a fucking genius maneuver to do. Like
that one trial where Oppenheimer was talking about the delivery of something that Strauss was supposed to do, and he was like, it doesn't matter. And in the black and white version, Strauss was like, yeah, but in the color version, he's like fuming.
Yeah, he's fuming.
Oh, man.
Like.
Man, Robert Downey Jr. did such a good job playing.
Yes.
I watched a lot of interviews before seeing this movie, and one of them, I think it was with Plum. What's the guy from the BBC one? Anyway, and he was like reminded me of Jeremy Irons, and I was like, he looks so much like Jeremy Irons in this movie. Actually, like I could see Jeremy Irons doing this 20 years ago, right? Same, makeup, same receding hairline for the part, because obviously that you really lose RDJ when you pull his hairline back like 4 centimeters. The glasses, like everything. I was like really impressed because you could sort of hear RDJ's voice in there, but like he really like flattened it, right? To be like this totally different guy. Actors.
Yeah, he was so like calculating and like. I don't want to say evil because I don't think he was evil, but
no. It's just the wills of two different men, right?
Yeah.
He was so manipulative.
He never saw himself as evil. He just saw himself as like, I'm a go-getter.
But he's the bad guy in the film.
Things,
like he's framed that way. Like yeah, and it's ingenious. Like I loved the framing devices, and then you get the Security Council starts off with Oppenheimer reading. He's like, to understand my story, you have to go back, and then we learn about his school time, him as a student, where he's a bright guy, but he's not the best in laboratory work, and then he finds this field of theoretical physics. Like I found his time up until he became part of the Manhattan Project very interesting, and then they start weaving in the ideas of communism. What did you think of this backstory leading up to the Manhattan? The part that you didn't realize was in there, Brent. What do you think of that?
It's just fun and entertaining to watch yet another black and white Robert Downey Jr. movie about communism. I've loved both of them.
Yep.
Like I said, this is an element in the movie that I was not expecting. I don't know why I thought a movie called Oppenheimer wouldn't be just about Oppenheimer.
To be fair,
I really thought it was about the project itself and all of that. So it was wonderful. Like it was a wonderful little surprise to spend the time getting to know this character who other than what he did, I don't know much about.
Well, we didn't really learn about it in school. Like all that I learned about Oppenheimer was through like TV, I guess, and not really documentaries, but like stuff about the like World War II. So he was always just this person who made the bomb for me. And then the quote that everyone knows him for.
Like in the fact that he essentially, like, I didn't realize he was essentially the father of modern theoretical physicists, because like they didn't even teach that in school until he walked in and said,
didn't teach it in North America.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the fact that like he was the one who basically like revolutionized that for Americans and came in and said, like, no, this is what I want to teach. I don't care if nobody's in the classroom. It will happen, but like, this is what I want. This
It's quite
is important.
possible. Well, besides all the other things in history that he was really important for, like, black holes and stuff like that. But and obviously, running the project, we probably wouldn't have like Carl Sagan without Oppenheimer, right? Like the way they taught in the United States or just in North America in general was just not as advanced. It wasn't as open as it was in Germany and Prague and
and it
all
was
these other places of higher learning.
It was crazy seeing all the people that he would run into and eventually work against in that time, like Heisenberg, and then we saw Niels Bohr's really early.
I love the scene with Niels Bohr when he meets him and he's like, "Hey, you asked me a question in that Q&A." He's like, "Yeah, you asked me the same question in another Q&A before. Why did you ask me the same question again? Because I didn't like your answer the first time."
It shows how his mindset, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it really cemented that character. Cillian Murphy was so good. And we keep saying that, and we'll get
Is it Cillian or Killian?
It's probably Killian. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's Irish.
I actually always I always didn't never 100% knew. So
I know, I keep going between the two.
Yeah.
So we move from that over to it's hard to talk about plot points because there's like so many things, like his relationship with Emily, well, not Emily Blunt.
what's her name? Played by Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. What's her name in this movie? Oh my God, I just watched a documentary.
Honestly, I can't remember either because it's been a week and a half for me. So.
To be fair, they don't say her name a whole lot in the movie.
Jean Tatlock. Literally,
Jean Tatlock. That's
literally when I was watching that documentary before we came on, they were talking about Jean Tatlock.
They were talking about
Your cockpit's low.
How do we talk about his relationships? Because his relationship
He was a philanderer and he was a quite possibly a womanizer. He certainly got around because when you get to the bit about the woman he ended up marrying, she was already married when they started dating, basically.
Yeah.
So I know it's weird because he seems like a really stand-up guy in all these other respects, but he's like he's got character flaws, which I think is what makes him so compelling.
Yeah.
Partly, I was like, the whole time I really didn't think, because I looked at it as a percent. He was with Jean for the first bit of the movie. They had a relationship, and it seemed like he wanted a lot more than she did.
Yeah.
Which was like a running theme of the movie and between them. And then so he meets his actual wife and everything, and like takes her away from a bad marriage. So I didn't really get the sense that he was like a womanizer or philanderer until it was later in the movie when he's accused of sleeping with another man's wife.
Yeah.
And then after that guy gets like ejected from a party or something like that, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I did." Like,
also, he went and slept with Jean.
I
again,
absolutely did.
Right. While he was married.
Yeah.
I think the thing about,
I was like, oh, so Oppenheimer was kind of a piece of shit.
I think the idea that that Jean played a really big importance in his life because she brought the communists, the leftist ideas into his viewpoint, and then he became sort of like this champion for unionizing students and workers. I thought that was things that I did not expect. Was something like that. Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I thought that was really, and that sort of mentality.
Damn liberal Hollywood pushing their woke ideas down our throats.
But it was something that sort of just followed him the rest of his life. It got him.
What happened to the good McCarthyans?
It got him under the eye of the FBI, and they just sort of followed him for the rest of his life, which was sort of terrible. But it also
I don't think the point of that was to be like a political stance. I think the idea was that like, look what politics does to our ability to have like breakthroughs in science sometimes. Like, they stifle the creativity of these people.
Yeah.
And they don't let them work where they need to work because they're so afraid that they might have to pay people more money, maybe?
Yeah. Well, like the fact that when the Manhattan Project was brought to them, they went to his colleague and his team instead, and he basically had to like, no, I should be on this project, but no, because of your ties with all of these unions and communism, and he found a way to worm in and take the project as his own because he knew it should have been him. Like,
well, that guy also, I think, because that's Josh Hartnett's character, right? Where he was at no point is he like, He's like, it's not that we don't want you on this. It's that the
It's
government
you
won't
can't.
do it.
Yeah,
The government won't
give
do
you
it.
clearance.
And they're always like, but there are allies. And they're like,
Yeah.
but everybody knew they weren't going to be allies after the war. Like,
Yeah.
everybody fucking knew the Soviet Union was only an ally because Germany invaded them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, not only that, but he was constantly throughout the entire time because he was trying to hide a lot of like his Jewishness as well because of his time in Germany. That he was constantly viewed as being sympathetic towards Germany and the Nazis at the time too, and he was always battling against that. Like, no, that's why I left. Like,
Yeah,
you know, it was bad there for me. It was really bad there for me. It's like, yeah, but you were working with Heisenberg and you were working with these other Germans over there. Like, how do we know you're not still working with them? Like, it's just, I like the first start of the movie because it just constantly showed the struggle that he was like constantly battling against to get to where he was.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the second half, the Manhattan Project, where, you know,
Second, third.
that was
Second, third.
Second,
It's a
third.
movie in 3
I would say
acts.
the movie's
and each
3
act is
acts.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second third. Did I say second half?
Yes.
Oh, I meant second third.
Okay.
That sounds so bad.
the
Act
second
two,
the second
the
act,
bombing.
where the man who couldn't run a hot dog stand ended up being the one who was organizing all these different teams across America to build this crazy ass bomb. What do you think about this? The idea of one of his teams, one of his scientists, coming up with an even bigger bomb during that time, and sort of developing that on the side, but him sort of wrangling all of these. What'd you think about it?
I begged the question a little bit was maybe it's something I didn't pick up on in the movie, but how much of him shutting down that guy's notion of the hydrogen bomb, how much of that was him basically saying, I mean, I know he was saying a lot in the movie of we don't want this because if we build a bigger bomb, then someone else is going to build a bigger one. So like, why keep trying to go bigger and bigger, which was his point. But how much of it do you think really was just him going like, nah, fuck you. This is my project.
See,
like, we're building my bomb.
I don't think so.
I thought it was him thinking, we're building this big ass bomb. Once people see this, no one's going to want to use it. Like, it's just going to stop people from,
But he wanted to use it, though.
Yeah. But because he wanted to end wars. I feel like that's what he wanted.
No, it's not that he wanted to end wars. It's that he wanted people to see his work. What's the point of, like, building something if you don't play with it?
Once.
Yeah, just once.
Yeah. But that was it. It's
he just seemed to think
I think
that
he was
he's like,
fine
if we build this thing, and then everybody thinks they want to build it, but we show them how fucking dangerous it is.
Yeah, that's what
they'll all go, okay, let's not have war anymore. But of course, that's not true. There's always somebody who wants to use it.
Yeah, that's what I took it as. What Dave said.
That's what I assume it was. Is like he wanted the Hiroshima attack to happen so that people could see the magnitude of what he had built, and but at the same time be like, okay, now this can happen. Let's all chill. And that didn't happen. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it was there's a no, if you want to not have to kill people or kill the minimum amount of people, which is kind of what he was going for. He's like, where's the place where we can kill the least amount of people to get them to stop?
With
you know what I mean?
Impact, right?
It's a question
and
of
that's
like,
what he was fighting for. Like,
how many times do I have to shoot somebody until they stop trying to kill me? And sometimes you have to shoot them so many times that they're dead.
Yeah. And I did like that was a big part of it. I love that scene of them meeting and like of all of the people sitting around a meeting and discussing we have a list of 20 targets. What are our best
10.
options here?
Oh
and
my
him
God.
advocating for go for like the least.
We can't pick here. This is where I had my
like,
honeymoon. There's a moment earlier on the film where one of his colleagues says that the math shows that we could ignite the atmosphere, and there will be this chain reaction, and this is sort of a constant imagery throughout his throughout the film. And I think the part when he was trying to tell people, we build this one, it's going to cause a chain reaction to show people that if more people build this, it's just going to kill the world. And that's sort of his understanding at that time, that he people wouldn't want to use it. But by the end of the movie, he believes, and this is like I know I'm skipping all the way to the end, but that shot of him looking out into the distance at the pond, realizing that he had set off this chain reaction to build bigger and bigger ass bombs, and just the look of terror in his face was amazing. I don't know why I brought that up right in the middle of this, but thoughts on that?
Well, because that shot is actually so much it's in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Like it's all over the movie that him just staring off.
That shot essentially encapsulates the entire third act of the movie. You know, him regretting everything he did up to that point. It's all like him finally realizing that everything I did not want to happen with this is exactly what they used me to make happen, and now it's out of my control. And what the fuck have I done? Like,
I mean, it's kind of the exact reason why his part of the movie is never in black and white. Because there's nothing that is black and white about what he has to do. Because it's literally like the Jerry. What the fuck is what's the Seinfeld? Not Jerry Seinfeld. Who's the Larry David going like? Because it's like, well, if the Nazis get the bomb first, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
If we build a bomb, we're gonna kill all these people. And a lot of other bad things are gonna. And then like someone else is gonna get the bomb.
Happen, like.
You know, like, and this is like, there's no good option, right? He has no good option.
And that was the thing. It's like the reason he pushed through with it is because this whole thing is like, yeah, I'm going to kill a lot of people with this thing. But at the same time, imagine what Hitler would do if he had it.
Yeah.
Imagine what the Russians would do if they had it. Like, it's like, we can't allow that. We have to show our power so that they stop trying to show theirs. Like, and it's like that battle inside of him, like, I'll say one of my favorite things in the movie, and I know we'll probably talk about it later, is like I've discussed, like, the sound design of this movie is fucking incredible. And the one that I love the most is we don't even realize what it is until later in the movie, but every time he's having some kind of like battle of conscience in his head, you just hear this rumbling noise, like this constant rumbling and a shaking of the camera and wondering what it is. And then finally, like towards in the last third of the movie, we see a scene where after the bombs have gone off and he's being lauded by everyone and praised, and he walks into an auditorium, and we finally hear and see what that sound is. It's all the people in the auditorium stamping their feet and cheering for him, because like, you are the man who, look what you did, look what look what you made, look what you caused. And to realize that, like, in that moment, he's so distraught by what he did that the sound of applause and accolades haunts him throughout the entire movie. And like, that level of sound design that they did to tie all that together was, god damn, fuck, it was so brilliant.
Well, let's talk about another brilliant use of sound and visuals. The actual bomb test.
Actual Trinity test.
The test this was all shot in IMAX. So it was really big and really loud when I saw it.
And no special effects. All practical, the entire movie.
Yeah, no digital effects.
No digital effects, sorry, yes. But
there's a lot of practical effects.
Yeah. All practical, I was what I meant.
Yeah.
This movie definitely contributed heavily to carbon in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know what to say about this sequence. It was
they used like a lot of gasoline and exploded it, but they put other things in it, so it wouldn't just look like a gasoline explosion. Like, I think they put like magnesium and stuff in it and like phosphorus flares so that you get the little sparks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, like, this is the explosion. This is in the this is on the poster, and it's not what a nuke looks like. No. It's sort of a little bit, but like that. If you look at Brent's camera, that's what a nuke looks like. Yeah. That's not what we see in the movie.
No. The visual and sound design was incredible. Like
that whole sequence filled me with so much dread.
How quiet was your
because
theater?
they count from 90 seconds down to 1 in real time.
Yeah.
And you are the whole time watching everyone prepare for what's about to happen, and you are sitting in your seat.
The one guy
put like the sunscreen on, and then the other guy's like he's like the windshield protected me from the UV. He goes, "What protects you from the glass?"
The guy that was hovering over the abort button, you could feel his
Drake
tension.
and Josh.
Yes, I was trying to figure out what he was from. Yes,
It's Josh Peck.
he like the sweat coming off of him
Yeah.
just from the stress of doing
But
that.
yeah,
Perfect actor if you want a sweaty guy, right?
Yeah.
Because like he's like a notoriously sweaty actor.
Is he? I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
He always looks sweaty.
He does. Yeah.
that whole sequence had me filled with so much anxiety. I said this before we started recording that I legitimately was like waiting for the theater to explode when we hit 0. But again, a fucking amazing sound cue.
Yeah.
When it hits 0,
Nothing.
all you hear is him breathing. That's the only sound is Oppenheimer fucking breathing. And I was like,
the bright,
oh my God.
the light that emanated from that bomb was so bright, it was ridiculous.
Well, in real life, if you looked at that's why they all couldn't look at it, because they knew if you looked at it, you would immediately go blind.
Yes.
Yeah, they were all given like,
maybe
you have to look at it through
forever.
this lead.
Yeah, the welder's glass. Yeah.
Welder's glasses,
Yeah,
yeah.
welder's
That's
glass,
so
yeah.
bright, because this is like brighter than the sun.
When that one guy got out of the bunker, yes, this should definitely be seen in a theater, Taffy.
Yes. Or at least with the best stereo system you can possibly afford.
Yeah.
Like,
So the person I was with at the end of the movie was like, why did you keep laughing at certain parts when they were doing the smaller tests? And the guy would go, okay, nobody look. And then he would look and then ignite a thing.
I was laughing at that too. So was our theater.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah. My friend was like, why are you laughing? I'm like, because he's the only one looking. He tells nobody to look, and then he looks. Like,
he was also the one
so
that
funny.
He was the one that got out of the bunker and went to look. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna go blind.
He's gonna go blind, yeah.
But he didn't. He had the welder's glass. So oh man. Yeah, the sound design, like the breathing, the quietness, you could hear a pin drop in my theater. It was crazy. It felt like everyone was just holding their breath the whole time.
I was just waiting to hear somebody like rustle a bag of something or like open a pop, but it was dead silent.
there's two elderly people behind me that wouldn't shut the fuck up through the whole movie. Like, they were talking.
Do you
through that scene,
remember
which
when you, Robert, and I went to dinner after he ignited the nuclear warhead?
The entire movie was the woman talking about how she remembered certain things from back then, and I was like, you weren't old enough to be alive when that happened. Like, I can tell that you're not quite there yet.
So
And
that
then-
was
and then I guess-
1946,
Yeah.
1945?
Yeah.
My father is 80 years old, and he was born in 43.
Yeah.
So she was not 80 years old. She was probably early 60s at most. And her husband
Early
was just one of
60s,
those guys
goddamn.
that's like, well, I have a clever quip for everything, and everyone loves to hear me tell a joke.
Were they talking during this
Oh.
sequence too?
Yes.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they were talking the entire damn movie, and I was like, I wanted to turn around and yell, but I was like, I will get turned on immediately if I yell at an elderly couple.
They might have a heart attack too. You don't want that on your conscience.
I'll
He
just
dies,
chalk it up
he
to bad
dies.
diet.
The boom that came after like so much silence.
Oh yeah,
scared
don't
the
worry, you get to
shit
hear the
out of
boom.
me. Like,
There was supposed to be a kaboom. Where was the earth-shattering kaboom?
oh my God. I love that sequence. I thought it was beautiful. It was
It might be the best part of the movie. Like, just as an overall sequence, it might just be the best, like the pinnacle.
it was intense. It was horrifying, but it was also slightly beautiful. Like
Yeah.
it was there. I had so many emotions at the same time as I was watching it. Not to like it was intense when I saw it.
I love too that right before it goes off too, he has the conversation with Matt Damon. You know, like so the calculations, there's a worry that we could ignite the atmosphere when this happens. It's like, well,
What's
what are
the
the odds of that
percentage?
happening? Well, near zero.
Near zero?
Near how about zero? Well, near the best we're gonna get.
Yeah. In theoretical physics, near zero. I really like the relationship between
And the two guys that bet $20 that they're gonna light the atmosphere on fire.
that was
Or
Oppenheimer.
I bet you a month's salary that we light the atmosphere on fire.
He bet Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he bet Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
There's so much to say about the relationship between Oppenheimer and what's his name? The general that
Matt Damon
played.
the colonel.
Yeah, Colonel. Yeah.
General Matt Damon.
I don't even like it's hard to talk about their relationship because
Why did I just
you really have to see this tug, this he really
It's a mutual respect and a mutual hatred at the same time.
I
It's
don't think they hated each other though.
I think it was that they hated each other's practices. they respected each other's vision. They respected each other, what each other wanted out of this project, but they hated the way each other was. He hated the way Oppenheimer was trying to make the project his own and take over everything. And Oppenheimer hated the way that he kind of always felt his hands were tied by him. But at the end of the day, they were on the same page. They had the same goal in mind. So, and they had that mutual respect for that reason.
I think that's one of the reasons the project was so successful. Because they are kind of fighting a little bit about, and you're like, if Oppenheimer got everything he wanted, would they have made the bomb?
It was Groves. Groves is Matt Damon's character.
If Groves got everything he wanted, they would have had nothing but bombs.
20 bombs. Yeah. They would have had 20 smaller bombs.
Right.
I think, and I think Groves really saw the potential that Oppenheimer had. Like, I don't think the government would have gotten Oppenheimer if Groves wasn't like, this is the man for you.
Yeah. Well, what was the line that he said to him earlier? Is the reason why he picked him was like, I forget that conversation, but it was something like, where he was like, oh, well, this is a problem with me. He's like, yeah, no, that's why I picked you. Like, I can't remember what the actual line is, but it was a really good line.
I do remember.
There's a lot of conversations that sort of seem inconsequential that are just building blocks in all this. Because to be fair, 90% of this movie is actually just people talking. And it's amazing that stayed, like, I never felt bored. I never felt were like, the pacing was like perfect.
There's only really one time in the movie, and I think it was like after the Trinity test, I felt there was a little bit of the movie there that kind of dragged a bit for about 15-20 minutes, but that was it. Like, and not even drag, just I felt it slowed the pace a little bit compared to everything else in the movie.
Let's talk about the third act, which was the security trial and the
Strauss's
nomination, right? Which really was a good sort of summary of what we saw everything earlier, because this is when we noticed that it's from two different points of views, and how Strauss really was gunning for Oppenheimer to lose all respect. And
one thing I really like too, I meant to touch on this beforehand about the whole like dual perspective things that I really enjoyed, is the fact that Oppenheimer, like, even though Strauss knocked him over and everything, Oppenheimer always still really liked him. And if you notice, in both versions, in Oppenheimer's version of the story and the Strauss's version of the story, Strauss is portrayed essentially pretty much the same. Like, because Oppenheimer doesn't have a skewed view of him, or like I hate this guy. Like, he literally sees him the way that Strauss wants people to see him, and he's essentially portrayed the same both ways. But Oppenheimer's portrayed completely differently. Like, on one side, he's, like this, I'm apologetic for everything that I had to do with this project and I want to stop. And in Strauss's vision, he's like a fucking monster who wants to do more. Like,
see, I thought in Strauss's version, he always pictured himself as a smooth talking person.
To that extent, yes. But I mean, like, he wasn't portrayed as a villain the way he really was in Oppenheimer's. Oppenheimer didn't see him that way. He didn't see him as a villain. He just saw him as somebody who has their own agenda opposing mine. It's like, I respect this guy. I respect a lot of what he did for me and everything. I don't agree with his opinions on things, but I respect him. And that he never showed disrespect for him in his visions of him.
I really think some of the best acting is in the third act. Like,
100%.
There's a couple of mic drop moments where they just, because of the way things build up, and then you're just like, oh,
yeah,
I thought that person was going to say something else, or I didn't know what that person was going to say. And then you're just like, oh, this isn't over. Like, this thing's going to, there's another side to this. And then we got to see, and it was like, oh, this isn't just the
any
fucking
examples that you want to use?
The Rami Malek scene.
Like,
Rami Malek, and then when Emily
Blunt, her
just crushes it, right?
She is phenomenal in this movie.
So good, because she's such a villain in so many ways throughout. She's cheating on her husband. She's neglecting, her family.
She's neglecting the kids and everything. Like, she's the reason why he has to give his child away to another couple to take care of for possibly a while. Like,
and what we don't realize, like I saw this in the documentary, is that they gave away both of their children for a period of time. So the son and the daughter.
Yeah, it was. They only had the one child that when they showed that in the movie. Yeah. So I guess that was like revisionist history a little bit.
I think this is one of those things where it's like, it's not
they don't need to show the
most
second
super
child.
important detail. It's just you understand.
Yeah, it's like
that.
who cares how many kids? It's the fact that it happened.
They showed
Yeah.
both kids. It's just that they didn't show the second one getting
Yeah.
given away.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
and then-
when he gave the kid away, they only had the one child at the time.
But that
In the movie, they only had the one child.
no, they had 2 children, but they only showed giving away of the first one.
Yes, because they only had the one child at the time when he gave it away.
It doesn't matter.
But that was the first child. That's how it
It was
happened.
right after the child was born, and it was meant to show that she was a really shitty mother. That she would rather drink and wait for her husband to come home to deal with the crying kid.
She's not a shitty mom. She was going through postpartum depression, which was not a thing that was.
Nobody understood that at the time.
Yeah, so there was no
at the time. Well, the alcoholism doesn't make her a good mom.
No, that's the part that's the bad.
And the drinking while pregnant also doesn't. And
but was that?
But
they know
but they
that
also
then?
didn't know. Well, they knew a little bit. They kind of,
Yeah,
There was a lot of things that we were lied about for a long time, especially in North America.
This is a movie I definitely need to watch again because I feel like there's a lot of little nuances like that you missed the first time through.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great line where before Emily Blunt has her commanding scene where it's like blah 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 blah, and there someone's kind of just saying like, is this gonna go the way you want? And he's like, you don't know my wife.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't know our relationship. You think you know this shit, but you don't know anything about us. And then that scene happens, and you're like, yeah, truly, we see this side of her through him, but she's not the main character.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see their relationship all that much.
No,
we see like a couple of things, but it's like, do these people actually care about each other?
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, well, clearly she does, and clearly they have a like, because he is someone people like. Like a lot of people like him, and then because it's near the end of the movie, they start going, actually, a lot of people really like Oppenheimer. A lot of people look up to him for a lot of reasons, not just because he's brilliant and did all this other stuff, but he's, an interesting person, and people like to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the list of people he knew, and those people didn't hate him, right? I
love the relationship between him and Albert Einstein.
Yes.
I thought that was just going to be a throwaway thing in the movie, that they were going to have one scene that, acknowledging that he knew Albert Einstein. I did not realize how much they were going to focus on that friendship and how influential that friendship was on him. Like,
sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say, and the talk about them destroying the world and how, like, the Albert Einstein speech at the end of the film where he's like, you're going to be awarded one day, but that's not going to be for you. That's going to be for the next guy. And I was sitting there like, fuck. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because it was that good of a scene. I don't even know who played that guy. Who played Albert Einstein?
Albert Einstein. He was in some of the other...
I can't remember.
I don't know who this is.
People are kind of mad because they had Einstein and Oppenheimer who were both Jewish, and they're like, they're not played by Jewish people.
I did not at first recognize Gary Oldman in the movie either.
He's now played everyone but Stalin, by the way. He's played that's not Truman, right? Who does he play?
He plays Truman in this.
He plays Truman. Yeah.
He's played Truman, and he's played God, I can't think of his name now. Whitehall. Why the hell? We shall fight them on the beaches.
Oh my God.
Winston Churchill.
Churchill.
Yeah, so if he just plays Stalin now, and we know he can do a Russian accent because when he played Reznov in Call of Duty Black Ops,
Air Force One,
and Air Force One, get off my plane.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I really loved when like Aldrich Ehrenreich, the guy who played Han Solo,
he was so good in this movie too.
I was like, this is a little bit of Han Solo, I feel like here actually. And when he just turned that whole thing, he's like, maybe they were talking about something more important than you. I was just like, holy shit. I thought you work for this dude.
Not at that point.
That was such an amazing moment in the movie too, because like that was essentially that's what started the conflict that made him go after Oppenheimer was because Albert Einstein shunned him. He thought, that motherfucker must have said something about me.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's not even like he shunned him the whole time. He shunned him at that one moment.
That one time. Yeah.
That one time he shunned him. And he thought,
sorry,
must have said something about me. I'm going to ruin him now.
Sorry, a 70-year-old man or whatever, or 60-year-old man was too busy he fed his ducks and then he was thinking about something. And that's somehow someone else's fault that he didn't talk to me. Like,
God.
Strauss is like kind of,
egotistical.
He's kind of a Tony Stark.
but like
He just he
yeah,
thinks everything's about him. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
like
kind
Tony
of the whole
Stark.
thing, right? That's why there's a conflict. He just thinks everything's about
Yeah,
him.
he's his complete ego.
And when the movie when you see that conflict starting, you don't. You're not. He's not even presented that way. You just think like, oh, he has this legitimate beef, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end, you're like, what a fucking loser.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like as the movie unravels, you begin to realize just how like you think that he's in the right the whole time, and then as the movie
Yeah.
unravels, you realize no, this motherfucker's just really petty.
He just
like
he
Super
sees, what's the phrase? He's making mountains out of molehills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
And in the end, all he does is destroy his own career. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any final things about the third act that we want to? Any favorite sequences that we?
I didn't
so
have a
many
problem
good-
because the movie. I thought the movie ended just fine. I thought it was like, oh, it's over. That's the story, right? Like as soon as that wraps up, it just ends. And the
Yeah.
person I saw it with was like, the movie just ended, and I was like, yes, that's the story. It's over. Like that guy didn't.
Did you
want
to see him die? Is that what he wanted?
Like, what did you? Yeah, were you hoping for like an Interstellar where he sees his daughter in 70 years or whatever? Like, I don't. It's the
he
story's
encases
over.
himself. He encases himself in the next bomb. Like,
I really did not realize that Oppenheimer was such a advocate for nuclear like
De-armament.
dearmament
Yeah.
and regulation. Like I thought that was amazing because I didn't know. And what was it really
well,
interesting?
that was his thing. Was like if we can't stop these other countries from building bigger bombs, we can at least stop them from having such easy access to the materials to do so.
What was great about all this talk about Oppenheimer is that all these universities have now started putting out the talks that he, because he went on tour and talked about all of this, right? And McMaster University, which is my alma mater, he actually came to Mac and did like a 3-series talk over there in the 60s. So they released that online, and like it's fascinating just reading. I guess they didn't really film.
It's
things
been
that way.
really funny watching every article come out being like, here's how we're linked to the Manhattan Project. It's like there was a Canadian one time and like we probably made all the uranium, like a good amount of it because Canada has a lot of uranium. It's in the Yukon, and like there was a specific tribe in the and I'm like, man, Canada really just every time there's like, no, we were there. We had
6 degrees of J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Yeah, like, well, Robert Oppenheimer, like his family moved to Edmonton one time or something. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, why is that? Yeah, we were allies. We were a part of the British Empire at the time. Of course, we committed resources to this.
Yeah. We were part of the war effort.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember hearing someone as I was leaving the theater say that was weird was they're like, "Oh, it was weird that they sort of name dropped JFK." I was like, I guess.
I mean, no, it makes perfect sense because he was all about nuclear disarmament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the point. And I was like, whatever.
I honestly, because my friend was like, "Do you think there'll be a sequel?" And I was like,
what? Why?
There could be if you want to go watch the sequel, go watch JFK.
Oppenheimer?
No, go watch JFK with Kevin Costner.
There's also
that's the closest you'll get.
There was another JFK movie that was really good about the Cuban Missile Crisis. What was it? Called 3 Days or something. I don't know.
I believe it's called X-Men First Class.
That was also very good. You know what I'm talking about?
13 days
13
or something
hours?
like that.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Let's talk about we already talked about the director's style.
Let's dance.
Christopher Nolan is an amazing director visually. Anything we need to add to that?
He's attracted a lot of
13 days.
13 days, cool.
He's attracted a lot of talent, which is a big part of why everything he does is so successful. Like he's clearly very intelligent and spends a lot of time planning, which is a big reason why his films are good. Whenever you see a bad film, go and look how long it took for it to make. That's probably a big contributing factor. And people, because of all that, people are eager to work with him, right? Like you build up, it's not, I wouldn't even call it a cult of personality. It's just like, he's good at his job and he finds people who are good at their job.
He attracts
and that's
good
why
people.
you get good things made,
Let's go into the actors. What do you think of Cillian Murphy's portrayal of Oppenheimer?
I struggle to think of a lot of other actors that could pull off the job that he did in this. not just how well he played the character, but to realize that this is a 3-hour magnum opus kind of movie, and he was on screen 98% of the time.
I can't
Like, there's
imagine.
rarely a scene, except early on in Strauss's stuff, that he is not on screen for. And
well, also
the fact that
basically
he-
starving himself.
yeah. And just the fact that like I watched the thing about how how he got hired for the movie by Nolan was basically like he originally auditioned for Killian originally auditioned for Batman to play Batman, and was chosen by Nolan, was his front runner, but the studio said no, we want somebody with more name recognition. So he was out, but then he called him up and said, I wrote a part for you. I want you to come back and play a Scarecrow in this.
Yeah.
And then continued, loved him so much that he wrote the same part for him in each subsequent episodes of the trilogy, and has become someone that he's always, I think Nolan's been looking for the perfect project for him this whole time. And this all just culminated together because it was the perfect casting for the perfect director for the perfect movie. Like, it was, if he does not win the fucking Oscar for this, then I don't, something,
If he doesn't get
something
nominated,
is gonna, if something comes out later this year that dethrones him, I will bow down to it, but I can't see it. He's too fucking good. This is like, 100%. He's getting nominated. Downey's getting nominated. Blunt's getting nominated.
Yep.
I could see them throwing nominations for Florence Pugh and Matt Damon as well. Just because I think this is going to be that. I think this is going to be that movie that
It's
gets
the Return of
like,
the King.
yeah. This is going to be the movie that gets like 22 nominations, and it's just like every category. Put Oppenheimer in it. Put Oppenheimer in it. Like editing, 100%, it should win. Sound design, 100%, it should win. Like
special effects, because 100%,
it should win. Like
pretty much all practical. So yes, 100%.
Sorry, I started talking
the only person I think that probably
this movie's just fucking perfect.
The only person I think who doesn't need, like, I think Matt Damon just did a job. I don't think Matt Damon had to do any heavy lifting here. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
but I think it's just one of those, like, he gets lumped in.
It's a courtesy.
The same way that,
nomination.
The same way that every time Clint Eastwood makes a big movie, Morgan Freeman gets a nomination, even though he doesn't deserve it. Like, it's just a lump Morgan Freeman in there.
See, I wonder. I would pick Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
As a maybe
supporting,
supporting. Like
I think RDJ should get supporting.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a lead in this. I think everybody, even though I think Killian called it, he's like, it's an ensemble. It's like, no, it's not.
No,
you're
it's
the
really
lead,
not.
and they're secondary. Like, you don't have just it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I do think one person could have done it, but in 15 years, Tom Hiddleston, if he keeps getting better.
He's a very good.
He has to keep getting better though, because I think Tom Hiddleston he is a good actor. He's not. I don't know if he's as good as Cillian Murphy, but
he's still young. He's
only like 40.
Yeah,
Cillian Murphy's like 55 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's getting there.
And I could see, like, if he went along the lines of like trying to cast a Christian Bale or something in the role. I mean, Christian Bale, I think, is the kind of guy that can probably knock most roles out of the park. But I think he would have gone too deep on this. I see him going like full machinist on a movie like this.
No, he said he won't do that anymore. Which is probably why he couldn't even do this role, right?
Yeah.
If he wanted to, because he's destroyed his liver doing that.
Yeah,
going back and forth.
Yeah,
I don't mean like he loses the weight, but I mean, like, I just see him going full in character, like
only sleeps in the hat.
Heath Ledger Joker levels of in character, like.
Fair. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, give him the Oscar.
No, I mean, like, what did you think of his portrayal?
One of his best performances. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him other than, I don't know if you guys have seen the Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, I love Chaplin.
Yes, he's
I don't think he's like fallen into a character more.
No, I would agree.
Right, especially when you consider like all the other things that he's done. Let's say in the last like 15 years, where it's like Iron Man, Dr. Dolittle, and Sherlock Holmes, and I'm like, all of those things have aspects of RDJ.
They're all.
This is the only time I was like, that's either RDJ or it's now I can't think of the actor's name. Like, not Jeremy Irons, but like someone who like Daniel Day-Lewis, where it's just like, where's the act? Like, there's no actor here.
Yeah.
That's the guy, right? Like,
Yeah,
Which
he
was
There were
disappeared
several,
in the
like,
role.
yeah, there's several people in this movie that I just like completely lost into them and forgot who they were. Like, I didn't even half the time I don't remember it's RDJ that was playing the role in it. He's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about all the cast, but I do want to talk about Emily Blunt. I think she if she doesn't get nominated, that's gonna be.
I think it's the way the character is portrayed. To like, she's given something to do, whereas not everybody's really necessarily given something to do in the same way.
Agreed.
Where she has an arc in such a small thing, and she just executes it perfectly. So it's just like, I don't think you're necessarily, maybe people knew better than I did, but like, I really wasn't expecting any of that. I didn't know there was, the alcoholism or all this stuff, but it's just like, fuck, that was just like a perfect, like, she brought, that's, maybe it's just because everybody's working with Nolan and everything, but it's like everybody brought their best game.
I can't think of a better role for her that she's done.
Obviously, Live, Die, Repeat.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah, that was an amazing role. No.
The Adjustment Bureau.
Was she in that movie too?
She's the
Wow.
people were like,
Wyatt
I can't believe you and Matt Damon never worked together before. It's like they were literally the leads of the Adjustment Bureau.
It's like when Taika Waititi and Ryan Reynolds were going around for
like, yeah, we never worked together
never worked
before.
together.
Never met the guy.
Never.
Yeah,
And Free Guy.
never heard of a movie called Green Lantern.
Man, I'm looking at this cast on IMDb, and there's like so many people. There's
so many like award-winning, like Academy Award-winning actors in this movie who just come in and deliver a couple lines and then scoot out of the movie, and it's like, thanks for coming. Like, it's okay.
And it wasn't even like, oh shit, that's Rami Malek. It's like, oh, this is like just good.
Yeah.
You know, like if like Jim Carrey, if 2-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey showed up, you'd be like, oh fuck, that's Jim Carrey. That doesn't. But it just fit,
Kenneth Branagh showing up as Niels Bohr.
Perfect.
Gary Oldman showing up as Harry Truman, like just for a quick scene and take off. And
I did not expect to see Casey Affleck randomly show up as well.
Yeah,
I learned he was in it like right before I went.
He was another one. I knew he was in the movie, but then I completely forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, like, they didn't show him at first. You just heard his voice and it was like, oh, I know that Affleck.
It was so weird. Because I actually just recently watched Gone Baby Gone, like
I still
almost
haven't
a
seen
month
it.
ago, and it's the same voice and it's the same kind of tone, but in Gone Baby Gone, he's like a very sympathetic, like he's trying to, he's the protagonist, and in this movie, he's a fucking antagonist.
Oh my god, he was
and just
terrifying.
like that's what I imagine the devil sounds like, right? He's like, hey, yeah, of course, I'm on your side. I just want to like do this thing that's not going to make you happy, but it's going to make me happy and it's going to make everybody else happy. You're like, Jesus Christ. Like this guy is very intimidating for I never thought Casey Affleck would be intimidating before.
Oh my God.
But it's because the power he wields in that scene, right? Where it's like, he can literally, he's a security officer in the military. He can kind of do whatever the fuck he wants.
And it helped that the guy, the officer playing opposite of him, looked terrified.
Yeah.
As well. Like, he's like, I'm doing my job. I swear I am. I'm helping you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, dude, it was so like that scene's. It's like the scene in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and Michael Keaton's just like, let me talk to Pete for a second, and then he turns around, right, and then the camera just pulls in, and you're like, oh shit,
Shit's going down. Oh man. Oh God. We need to skip the cast. I can't go over every single person because everyone did amazing. We talked about themes and messages. I have a thing. I was watching a video today and they were talking about how historically accurate this movie was and how surprising that is for a modern day biopic. What did you guys think about? Did you guys do any research about how accurate this was afterwards?
No,
I wasn't worried about it.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan wrote it. He was just like, yeah, okay, I believe this man.
Yeah.
I think that comes with years of trusting him.
Like, here's why. Because Christopher Nolan doesn't put based on a true story at the front of his movies, right? Like, whenever you see Ridley Scott movies, it's based on a true story, you're like, so
they kept the names
are real?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I much rather do it that way. I much rather go in, see a movie, and like not knowing anything about it, and then walk out and having somebody go like, "Oh, this, and this, that all happened. That happened. That happened." That makes it more. That makes reliving the movie in your head more fascinating.
Yeah. That's why I watched that documentary on Oppenheimer right after, because I was intrigued at what like his life like that. It wasn't me being like, I wonder how much of this is fake. It's more like he sparked an interest in me that I didn't know I ever wanted. And Christopher Nolan is one of those directors that will just be like, I need to know everything about it.
Veritasium put out, who's a PhD and has like a really good YouTube channel, put out a video like 3 months ago, and I just specifically didn't watch it about Oppenheimer, and then I finally put it on after, and I was just like, all right.
I learned about this in the movie.
Like it doesn't like confirm it because the movie hadn't been out yet, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like it just kind of like rehashes everything about the movie because the video is called "Why There Should Be a Movie About Oppenheimer," basically, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, the movie is why. If you watch the movie, then you see why there should be a movie about Oppenheimer. Like,
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this movie again. This is the time, Brent. Score and sound design.
10 out of 10.
Thoughts on it? Like what? Other than the bomb sequence, like, and
it's the way that this is a movie, as we discussed earlier. This is a movie that is essentially 90% just people talking, and shouldn't be that tense. I mean, like, I understand the subjects they're talking about are pretty important and pretty heavy, but it's just people talking. It's conversing. But when you take that and you take the sound cues that he comes up with, and like the heavy violin music just like playing behind every conversation, you can't help but just feel like this surge of energy going through you. Like I said, this is the first movie that gave me fucking anxiety watching. Like, I was legitimately filled with dread through several parts of it.
That's fair.
And that's all because of the music. That's all like 100%. He just
I'm very happy
so good.
that Ludwig Göransson did the music for this, because knowing Christopher Nolan, he's worked with Hans Zimmer a lot, but the last two movies, like Tenet and this one, were both Ludwig Göransson, and I heard that the score was really good for the last one.
Is Ludwig Göransson the one who did The Mandalorian as well?
It is. He is the one who did The Mandalorian. So I like. It's
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like being in an age where it's like, you know, we don't have Jerry Goldsmith anymore. John Williams is basically retired.
He retired,
right? Like Hans Zimmer is even getting fairly old. And you're like, who's going to be our next
Danny Elfman?
Danny Elfman is jacked and ready to go.
He will go forever.
You wonder like who are going to be like our Jerry Goldsmiths? Who's going to be our, you know, Hans Zimmers and stuff like that? And you're like, we got fucking Ludwig Göransson is really fucking good.
The ones that really pop out to me in like the modern ones are Ludwig Göransson, Michael Giacchino, and I can't even think of.
I think he's a little more hit or miss though.
He feels more old school. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever disliked any of his scores though.
I sincerely wish Austin Wintory would be given like a huge movie because he did like he's. If people know video games, he's done a lot of video games. He mostly does video games.
Journey is one of my favorite scores.
Yeah,
of any.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of any. Oh, Bear McCreary. Those are the ones.
Bear McCreary is fantastic.
Those are the ones I'm just like. Those are the ones that I.
The woman. I wish I could remember her name right now, but who did Loki is like.
Oh yeah,
because
very good.
When we found out, we were like, she did Loki. Then we went back and she's like, she did this stuff. Holy fuck! Like,
I hope she comes back for season 2.
I think so. The trailer's out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was going to be one of my many what's good. The trailer for season 2 of Loki is out, and it looks very good.
It looks better than Secret Invasion.
That looks better than Secret Invasion was. I would rather watch. That's a what's bad. Secret Invasion was
Natalie Holt.
Natalie Holt, yeah, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
She also did Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was really good. The music.
Yep.
Other than that, there's a couple other things.
So one of the things I heard was that there was only, I think it was Robert Downey Jr. was saying that normally you basically re-record all your audio. There's tons of ADR and like everything, and he had to come in and do one word, I think, for this film.
Oh shit!
And Nolan was like, yeah, that was it. That was the only ADR for the whole movie. Like there was basically no ADR.
Holy shit!
Which
the only ADR was RDJ.
which may be why the sound was finally really like. I mean, the sound's always kind of good in Nolan films, but like because he's always like taken. I think he's taken bigger risks before.
Mhm.
But this movie, like, I think he finally did it properly.
This is the first one where I didn't have to be like, oh shit, I missed that line. I wonder what they're saying. I heard everything. I don't think I ever.
This is a little out of left field, but sort of related. Did your trailers have subtitles? Because when I was in the theater, they did.
I'll get
And I
you-
went, I've never been to a theater and the trailer had subtitles before.
You know what
I was
freaked me out? I went in the theater, the lights went down, and the movie started. That's it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Holy shit! I had like 30 minutes of commercials.
It's because film.
you're an IMAX and it's a fucking 600-pound reel.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
They can't put anything in front
They
of it.
couldn't. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this movie's starting.
You know what? Because it's a long movie, though, there wasn't. I only had about 15 minutes of. There was like 2 trailers and like 1 commercial. Normally, like if I went to see like whatever, like the Batman's kind of long. If I went to see the new Mission Impossible, genuinely, it'd probably be almost 40 minutes. I think when I saw Multiverse of Madness, there was 40 minutes of trailers and actual,
commercials,
like,
right?
There were 3 Scotiabank commercials. I bet on it.
That's terrible.
It's insane.
Here's a.
I got to point out, actually, one of the trailers that played during mine was the new Exorcist movie.
I didn't even know there was an Exorcist movie coming out.
It actually looks pretty. It actually looks pretty good.
Is it a prequel?
But I gotta say,
Yes, it's a prequel.
Moment of the day for me then was when they kind of start playing snippets of the theme song and then cutting it out, and then you never hear it. They kind of start it and then stop it, stop it, and then finally they play the Exorcist theme song. And it goes all the way through the rest of the trailer, and then at the end it comes up and it's like The Exorcist, whatever the name of it is. And you hear one guy sitting 3 rows in front of me go, "I knew it was The Exorcist. You know what? The song sounded familiar."
Was it another old man?
I got a really quick story for you. When I saw Tropic Thunder in theaters, obviously many years ago now,
RDJ.
at the end of the movie, right, it's going through the credits, and it goes, Les Gorman or whatever his name is, Grossman, Tom Cruise, and a guy went, "That was Tom Cruise." We're like, yeah. It was just like, how did you not
To
see
be fair,
that?
it took me a while to realize it was him. Like,
Dude, the voice is so distinct to me.
I don't know why. Here's a tidbit about the music for Oppenheimer. The score for the film doesn't feature any drums, as director Christopher Nolan and composer Ludwig Göransson felt using the sound typically associated with the military would be inauthentic to musically capture the character of J. Robert Oppenheimer. I never noticed that.
So the only percussion you hear through the whole time is the stomping of the feet. Like,
fucking crazy. I think it's fair to say that this movie has gotten critical acclaim across the board.
deservedly.
Deservedly. What do you think? How does this fit in the oeuvre of Christopher Nolan films? Near the top? Middle?
I will say, I actually had this discussion with my nephew when he came to work with me today, and we were talking about this because he wants to go see the movie as well. And I forget how old he is now, because I'm like, why would you want to go see Oppenheimer? And I forget, oh yeah, he's 18 now, so like he's at that age where he wants to
legally allowed to see female breasts.
Yes.
He could see it up when he was PG-13, right?
Once.
So I'm like, it finally dawned on me that like, oh yeah, he's at the age now where he's starting to get into movies like this and being more interested in them. So we were discussing Christopher Nolan movies, and we had this exact conversation. And I said, I still think to this day, Dark Knight is my favorite of his movies for being the most entertaining, but I think this is his best. This is his absolute best job yet.
I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, empirically, and across all metrics, this is his best film, except it's not his most entertaining.
Yeah, like I would rather watch the Batman trilogy or Inception or Dunkirk again before watching this again, because it is such a.
Have you seen Tenet?
I haven't seen Tenet yet.
Oh, okay. I really like Tenet, but I understand the science. Like, I'm a nerd, like a real science nerd, so I understand what he's trying to do in that movie. People who don't understand what they're saying go, "What the fuck is happening in this So I get that, but if you get that, it's really cool.
Everyone
it's
that
really cool to me.
This is what deterred me from Tenet. Everyone was like, that movie is like fucking long, and it feels long.
It is long.
Like, but does it feel long? That's the issue.
It didn't feel long to me. I think I've watched it twice now.
Okay.
And I never saw it in theater.
That was the one
really
thing deterring me. So I'll go see it. I trust your views on it.
It's good. Like
I'll see
it's
it just
sort of
for
like
the
a
sake
heist
of-
movie.
Yeah.
I'll see it just for the sake of like finishing Nolan's catalog, because I think it's the only thing left of his that I haven't seen.
Well, weirdly enough, I only saw Memento like last year.
I used to love that
Or maybe
movie
this
so
year?
much.
And I was like, oh, I guess the movie. Of course I did.
But it became part of the general.
But it was
you know
it was
discourse.
a little tough because it, like going back to some earlier work like that is sometimes tough. But it's not bad. It's certainly not bad.
No,
And I think it
Memento
kind of
is the
holds
kind of-
up.
Yeah.
Memento is the kind of movie that like it's good, but it's more so good because you see the potential in what he's doing.
Mhm.
You see a real filmmaker burgeoning with that movie.
Yeah.
I remember going to see
That's
that.
the kind of movie where you're like, I want to know what he does next.
I
Like,
saw that movie in theaters without really knowing what it was about.
Really?
And I saw it at Jackson Square when it was even shittier theaters. And
Don't my
before the Lazy
friend Brom.
Boys.
yeah,
Brom thinks that's the best fucking theater now.
Those seats are incredible.
I've never been to the
Oh my
newer
God.
seats.
I'll be honest, Eric.
It's-
if you
it's-
bring your wife, you can just like it's like a couch. You can just
It's
You
yeah,
can do that in
it's
other places,
super
too.
wide seats. They're leather recliner Lazy Boys
Leather?
that basically
That sounds-
go all the way down. Like it is, they are.
they're
That's
not
good.
hot leather either.
No,
like they
no.
stay cool. I don't know if there's
They are the best theater seats, bar none, that I've ever been in.
especially if you want to get a handy.
Or if you don't,
We'll tell you
but
stories
you
about
just get one
Jackson
anyway.
Square later.
I saw Godzilla in like IMAX, and then I saw it again in those seats. So I mean, I saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're putting.
I was too busy giving a handy. I was
Yeah.
kind of half focused.
This guy gets it.
One eye
Yeah.
here, one eye here.
Yeah.
So you're saying upper echelon for this, like if not the top.
It's his best film.
It's the best film.
Yeah.
It's
I-
his best film. How could it not be?
Damn.
Like
I have a hard time putting this like this and Dark Knight are so close.
I think The Prestige is better than The Dark Knight.
Oh, I love The Prestige.
I think The Prestige is his second best film, and it is
I love that.
one of the best films ever made.
I would not disagree. Plus,
It's hard to like that movie is perfect.
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
would agree with that.
and he made that between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
No,
Just so he
wasn't that
wasn't
after
doing
The
nothing
Dark
but
Knight?
Batman, wasn't it?
I feel
Yeah,
like
I'm pretty sure.
let's see. 2006.
Yeah, 2004 and 2008, right? Or Batman Begins and
Oh yeah,
The
it is
Dark
right
Knight.
before. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just looked at his thing. And then he did Inception in between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Dark
He
Knight
did-
Rises.
he did a
that would
movie-
be-
Every 2 years and then every 3 years.
Man.
Inception's at the top for me as well. I think
Inception is
I-
very good.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, Dark Knight, Inception, and Prestige. I think just like any variation, those four are his best
Yeah.
work.
Inception blew my mind when I saw it. Like
I can't wait till he makes some bad movies, Like, because Spielberg has made some of the best movies ever made, but he's also made
Like-
garbage.
What kind of a fucking career do you have to have where Batman Begins is your low point?
I
like-
love. I think I like it better than
It's-
The Dark
that's
Knight.
still an incredible movie.
it's
But when
phenomenal.
you look at his catalog, that's
Yeah.
probably towards the bottom.
I feel like
for me anyway, like
I feel like for Spielberg, when he doesn't get involved with the script, is when it's really bad.
AI. Did he help write the script of AI?
AI
'Cause-
was written by what's his name? Kubrick. And then he did a and
I'd
then
like
he-
to see
then he
AI
did
be
Picasso,
rewritten
Picasso.
by AI.
I really like AI because I like Pinocchio as a story.
Oh,
So,
not me.
That's fair. Any final? I don't. So I've been thinking about this whole rating system. Like we used to go like 1 to 10. I think that's arbitrary and sort of shitty. I just want to know why
Would
would
you recommend this movie?
Would you recommend this movie and why? Brent.
Not to a 2-year-old.
Oh, Dave.
But
Dave, yeah, go, Dave. You said
Yeah.
it.
I think so. The person I saw it with, I didn't think would be like into movies like this,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Yeah, it's really good." And it's like, okay. I think anybody can watch this movie. I think
would agree.
anybody who can see an R-rated film. I think if you're a mature 16-year-old, you know, it might get you more interested in science.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie is not for no one. It's for everyone. I know there's people who are like, oh, they skipped over this, or you know, they didn't. You know, there's the whole thing with the natives, and you know, it's not Jewish enough for certain people, and it's like that's not. I'm sorry, but that's not this story, right? Like this is the story they decided to tell. So, and they did a very fucking good job with it. So it's worth watching.
Brent.
I've been doing nothing but recommending this movie to people since I saw it. Like it's the perfect movie. It is like possibly one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen. One regret I had actually was after I got home and I was talking to my mother about it, and she looked at me and got very upset. And I said, "What?" She said, "I wish you had told me that's where you were going, and I would have told you to take your father with you." And I thought about it. I was like, "Fuck, I should have." So I might actually go see it again and take my dad.
Yeah,
because I think it's like I said, he was born before the events of that movie, so like he's not aware of the events as they happened because he was like 2 or 3 years old, but he was very much alive for the aftermath of everything and for all of his accolades afterwards. So I think it'd be kind of interesting to like, and even though he's got dementia and his memory slipping, he has a really good memory of the past. So I probably could pick his brain a little bit still about a lot of that.
I was actually thinking about that myself. Like after I saw this movie, I was like, I would really love to go see this with my dad or my mom.
Yeah.
Maybe not my mom.
Yeah, I was. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'd like to take them both, but
Yeah.
I don't think she would. She would just complain the whole time.
It's a long movie for my mom. I think.
Yeah,
But my dad, I think,
yeah,
would be fascinated by it.
Let me see if my dad wants to. Oh,
I mean, it probably,
but to be honest,
he
also
might just fall asleep 10 minutes into it and sleep through the whole thing. But you know, he's just happy to get out.
I also thought that I think this would be a movie that I would bring my wife to. I think every, like Dave was saying, this is for everyone should see this movie.
yeah. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter. Like everybody will get maybe something different, but like it's just
and it's not only it's because also it's so relevant now with what's going on with Russia and Ukraine.
Russia literally saying that if Ukraine does well in its counteroffensive, they'll start nuking things. Yeah.
Like, so this is a great movie for people to see in a time that we're going through right now and to understand the ramifications of what's going on right now.
And all the stuff that he
right
tried
actually
to do
it was right after I watched this when I came home and my mother finished yelling but not taking my father. She then immediately grabbed the newspaper for me and she said, "There's an article you're going to want to read here." And it was an article about how bomb shelter construction is starting to go on the rise across Canada and Britain and the States right now, and how they're going to start rolling out emergency preparedness courses for people in case of a nuclear attack because of what's happening. And it's like, and I'm like,
back to the Cold War, baby.
I just got out of the movie.
Yeah.
Let me decompress a little bit here.
There was
don't put me back in that world. Like,
there was a video, and I can't remember who did it, but they were talking about if there was a nuclear attack in North America, what would be the places that they hit first in Canada? It was like it was the Canada-based one. I was like, oh, fuck.
You don't blow up the White House Independence Day style. You sneak in the back door.
It's terrifying. Oh man.
Well, someone just put up a nuclear fallout map, and basically the best place to be is Oregon.
I will. Okay, so
fuck all.
I was talking about that. Sorry, I can't remember the name of it right now because it's not in front of me. But the info special thing that I was watching.
Infographics.
I will. The video I'll post is they have a video, basically giving you a minute-by-minute timeline of what would happen if North Korea decided to launch a nuke.
Jesus.
And it's the minute-by-minute response of how the world would respond to it and how it would be dealt with and everything. And it's terrifying. It's fascinating. It's all done with cartoons
That makes
to make it, more digestible.
Hi, kids. I'm Roddy Radium. Welcome to You and Fallout.
Like there's that one. There's other ones about like how would we survive in a nuclear fallout? You know, like the minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day progression of things. Like it's a fascinating fucking channel.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
Taffy's saying that there's a show about people buying bunkers on TV. That Jesus.
You know what?
No,
I
that's Storage Wars.
I think you just go and you find a copy of Skeet Ulrich's magnum opus, Jericho, which is a phenomenal show.
I
love that show.
Phenomenal show.
I'm gonna have to ask. Steve
Oh,
about
shows
this.
like that existed, and I'm gonna leave here and watch Twisted Metal.
Oh, is that out?
Is that out?
It's season 1's out.
You could be watching Futurama.
Futurama's not all out though. You'll need
Oh.
But the first episode was
so good.
If
Ooh,
you
I did not know it
think
was out yet.
Oppenheimer is perfect, somehow Futurama did every joke you thought they would do and nailed every single one
It's so
without
good.
being corny or cheesy about bringing back their show.
Plus, they
It
also
was
made fun of Hulu so much.
It's just like, how are they still so good?
Yeah.
They can't keep getting away with this.
Did anyone watch the new Clone High? Speaking of, things
I
that
did
came
not.
out.
That's out too.
Yeah, the whole thing is out.
Jesus Christ!
I hear it's not as good though.
Oh man.
It
This is why
basically
I don't
turned
watch
into
new shows.
It turned into the show.
Back.
It turned into the show it used to make fun of. Basically, is what I understand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we're ending this on a sour note.
Yeah.
But Futurama, go see it, and
Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
I've been watching
Also-
I've been watching the Australian version of Hunted lately too,
I
which
don't
is
know.
really fun.
Interesting. Also, you were saying?
Barbie. I'm seeing Barbie on Thursday night. I can't fucking wait. I'm super excited for Barbie.
I might be going tomorrow.
Barbie was a lot of fun.
I
You saw it,
know.
yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a lot of fun.
Maybe our next episode's about Barbie.
I'm gonna get on a bus for 6 hours so I can watch Barbie.
I originally was gonna say, like,
Jesus.
are we doing Oppenheimer or are we doing Barbenheimer today?
I haven't seen
'Cause-
Barbie
but
yet.
I'm like, I don't know that. I think I was like, I've seen it. I don't know who else has.
I will
Like,
go see it
I
this
can't
week.
wait. I was so mad because like my best friend saw it. His wife saw it twice. All my friends from school saw it, and then we're posting that. I'm like, you didn't invite me. You went to the theater near my house.
I love too that I knew nothing going into the movie. I hadn't even watched the trailer. Like, I knew absolutely.
I know too much.
I legitimately was going in going like, I don't even understand what the fuck this movie could
Don't tell me because I don't know
possibly be
anything.
about.
I don't know what it's about.
But, no,
Imagine
but then you're watching the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes of the movie. I still am like, I don't understand what this movie's about.
I just imagine go talk to yourself 20 years ago and be like, you're gonna be so excited to see a Barbie movie.
I'm
know
just
what?
like, this
20 years
this
ago,
movie
I
is
wouldn't be
like
2 years
surprised.
ago.
I wouldn't be surprised.
when I was younger and I used to play with like my He-Man toys and my Ninja Turtles figures and I created stories for them and everything, I was like, that's what this movie is. I'm like, but even then, it's still not that. It's like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
So 2 weeks we're gonna talk about Barbie and Ninja Turtles, our toys.
I'm not
into
seeing,
movies.
I'm
I'm not
definitely
seeing
down for
Ninja
Ninja
Turtles.
You're not seeing Ninja
but
Turtles? No.
Oh, I'm going
I got the
tomorrow.
original. I'm good.
I'm so excited for this one. I'm can't wait
Raph!
to see it.
Leo! April, where are you?
Anyway, thank you guys for coming and talking about Oppenheimer. We'll be back to talk about Barbie in 2 weeks. Definitely Barbie for sure.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I can't
What-
wait. I can't.
I
wait
have
to see this
become
movie.
Barbie, destroyer of podcasts.
All right, have a good night, guys. Everyone. Thanks,
All right.
Dave. Thanks, Brent, for coming on and chatting. We will see you guys soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.